Hey everyone, welcome to our coaching call live in our Under the Influence community here. We absolutely love this community. So I am with my best friend, my other half, our master coach here, Coach Eric.
You want me to leave?
And tonight we're going to talk about support, how to get support from home. The people you live with, how to have those conversations, how to put up those boundaries for yourself. Basically, anytime you're on a journey towards a goal, having a support system is huge. Wouldn't you agree, Eric?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's really easy to derail. It's really easy to just kind of like say, screw that goal. I don't need that. If you feel like the other people don't agree with you. And essentially,
It's not worth it.
yeah. And essentially, yeah, you are giving up on your goal and you're willing to settle for other people's, judgments and what they think instead. And that is not what this is about. So go for it, Eric. Why don't you give your 2 cents on this topic?
Well, support should extend even past like nutrition. Your journey in general. Like who wants to take a trip to paradise by themselves? Like and with an empty car seat next to you. So if you have a spouse or even your kids or whatever, you have to. It's like any part of a relationship that you just the best part's communicating or communication. So, the first thing it'd be is to figure out your why and figure out why you are doing this, and then what ultimately sparks the fire inside, makes you want to take that first step of your long journey, and then express that to the people that are the most important to you, because they are probably part of your why, and they are probably a substantial part of your life. So why not have one cohesive experience?
Yeah.
And who knows who you could suck in and do a generational change and do it together.
Absolutely. And some people live with roommates or with parents or whatnot. It's not always their direct family or their spouse or their kids. And this is what I tell clients to do. And this is what I would do. I would just sit everyone down. I would call a house meeting, and you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to share yourself for sure, and have an open, outright conversation. Look, everyone, I love you all. Okay. I'm not fully happy with myself, or I have this thing I want to do, or whatever it is, fill in the blank. And it means a lot to me. And this is going to be tough because any change is tough. And it would really mean a lot to get your support, to understand, the changes I'm going to be making, or whatever it is whatever steps you are taking. And, when you come from a place of vulnerability and you come from a place of, putting your heart on the table, I think more times than not, people are going to respect that. People are going to be like, oh my God, yes, you go. We'll support you. Absolutely. I'm so happy you shared that with me. Or I never knew you wanted a goal like that. I think people will surprise you. I really, really do. But there are cases, right? I would say there are cases where that doesn't always happen. Would you agree? Have you ever come into anything like that, Eric?
I used to have very unsupportive roommates in California,
Mm.
but they were a bunch of guys, and so they were only unsupportive because they were my closest friends, so they would try to sabotage me.
That's not being a close friend.
Hey, you don't understand until you're a guy. Um,
Oh no.
But man, you threw me off my game with that. So yeah, I have been in that situation, and kind of the way that I dealt with it was since I bought majority of the groceries in the house, I just started buying cleaner shit. And so they, and when you wake up in the morning after being out all night and all you can eat is healthy food, then you kind of get used to eating healthy food for them. So that's kind of how I transitioned it. I didn't, I didn't like take everything out of the house, but I started making replacements. Like I started using coconut oil instead of like olive oil, like not EVOO, but like canola oil or whatever,
Yep. Canola.
Yeah, just little changes, cleaning, cleaner and cleaner until we all got to a cohesive understanding that we just, we all ate better to a certain extent, at least when we were at home,
Yeah.
So you don't have to do anything drastic, like go in and be like, I'm going on this journey and I'm throwing out all the shit in the house and fill up trash bags. You start just, if somebody's not, or I want to say unsupportive, but if they're resisting, then you start replacing stuff. Because there's a lot of great products out there that you wouldn't even tell the difference unless you told somebody that, oh, you're eating this, you're eating that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I cooked that in coconut oil, and oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So you it's little changes, baby steps, and just swap this out for that. Even go to the point, if you have to take gluten-free bread, if you can't have gluten, and put it in a bag that looks like normal and everything, and I guarantee your kids will still eat it. They're like, oh, toast!
Change the wrapper on it. They'll never know, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So another thing that I've had a client do, and this worked really well, and it's not going to work well for everyone, but just she lived in a household with her mom and her sister, and they weren't giving up their foods. But those foods were this client's trigger foods. Every time she knew they were there, she would binge. I totally get that too, because, if something certain was in that cabinet and I could get my hands on it, forget it. That's the end of it. But what she did is they came together and said, okay, we're going to put all that trigger food in the cabinet and put a padlock on it that only her mom and sister knew the code to. And that worked really well for her to get through that struggle of that, while she changed. And the thing is, it does get easier. If you're trying to not eat foods and they're in your house, oh my God, is that hell? Absolutely. But there are ways around it, like put them way up high. Make sure nothing is eye level with you. Put all your foods you want to eat eye level. Or maybe you can lock them up somewhere and someone's okay with that, which will help, because eventually it does get easier, guys, 100%. We have a question coming in. What if I'm getting pushback from my partner? That is a good one. What if I'm getting pushback from my partner? Number one, know your boundaries. That's what I would say. Know your boundaries. Do not judge them on theirs. And ask them not to judge you on yours. So if, for instance, you want to eat a new type of food and you want to give up an old type of food and you're getting pushback, I would simply say, look, this is really important to me. You can still have your food. I can still have mine. I'm going to respect you. Please respect me. Know your boundaries and stand up for yourself. Do you have an answer to that?
Yes, I drew a blank because you called on me. Well, really, it depends on what your stance is in the household. Because if you're really and your attitude and how drastic you're willing to take it. I'm a big person sometimes when I get to my wit's end that I'll just take my ball and go home, and I'll be like, yo, I'm cooking dinner and this is what we're eating. If you don't like it, then you can cook yourself some food.
Yeah.
If it gets to that. If you have to, basically take your ball and go home, because, I wouldn't go to that right off the bat, but at the point of where they're being disrespectful to you in your feelings, then, they feel free to cook your own food, but I'm going to cook enough for me, and that's going to satisfy me both internally and appetite-wise and mentally, really.
Yeah.
And not that I'm a marriage counselor or a relationship counselor, but if you can't sit down and have an adult conversation together, then and see eye to eye, or at least have a mutual respectful agreement, then your food choices and your healthy journey probably aren't the first time that you've crossed this bridge.
Right.
and probably not the most important one out of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Healthy boundaries are key, you know, and preset boundaries, because you can't expect somebody to know what you want
Mhm.
unless you tell them. And then once you tell them, you know, then it's like, I mean, I could understand if there was like maybe a couple hiccups along the way, because nothing's a perfect journey, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's an ongoing thing and you're into your journey for a while, and you know it's just a constant button heads, then maybe you need to have another conversation about, this is my boundaries, you know, this is why I want this, and please respect it, you know, whether it's your kid, husband,
You
wife.
don't have to like it, but
Yeah,
just asking you to respect it.
I don't. Yeah,
It
that's
kind
it.
of ties into our, yeah, it kind of ties into our next question. This
Oh,
is a good one. Next question. My friends roll their eyes when I talk about my healthy habits, but they're my closest friends. How do I get past this while continuing our relationships?
they're
This,
secretly jealous.
yeah. So let's this really digs into mindset here. Number one, they roll their eyes because you're doing something that they don't have the strength to do, or something that they don't have the willpower or they're just basically not doing it. You're doing something better than they are. Not that it's better, but that's how they feel. Okay. And I will say that on a journey of growth, internal growth, when you grow as a person, you are on a journey, you're trying to be healthier, you're trying to be more fit, you're doing personal development, you're going to grow as a person. When you grow as a person, you are unfortunately going to leave behind many friends. That is the first lesson in life here. There's a lot of friends that you are friends with now that you'll realize later on no longer serve you. They just want to hold you back. So they may seem like your best of buddies right now, but what are the things you have most in common? And are those things important to you? And if they are important to you, then great. You probably will have a good relationship for as long as those things stay important to you. But if those things you have in common are really not as important to you as they once used to be, the chances are you're going to grow out of that friendship and you're going to find new friendships that support you. But go ahead. That's the first rule right there.
Well, oh my God, I drew a blank again. um, man, I'm getting lost in your beauty over there, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, say another one, and then I'll jump in if I remember it, because
That's okay. That's okay. So this is what I would do. If you see someone rolling their eyes, now you can either just be quiet, okay, and go on your way. Oh, you remember? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
A lot of people associate food with a good time, or alcohol with a good time, you know? So they're like, oh, well, now she's not going to be any fun. Now he's not going to be any fun because we're over here, you know, what? So now it's going to be a difficult, because instead of going to Burger King, now we have to drive all the way another mile down the street to go to Five Guys, because they cook their French fries and they're a little bit cleaner, you know. So now it's an inconvenience, and now you're gonna ruin the good time, when food shouldn't be a reward. Food shouldn't be a staple of a good, like a party. Like, oh, I have to eat nachos because it's the Super Bowl. I have to drink a case of beer because everybody else is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Mm-hmm. And once you dig your heels into the ground, I'm really good on taking a stance. And you verbalize it, you'd be surprised if, you know, when somebody, I mean, it's like a 5-year-old. When my son rolls his eyes, I have the choice of either being combative or I explain to him, well, this is why I feel this way. This is why you're upset. This is why I'm doing this. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people be like, okay, and you get a couple eye rolls until they get used to it. And like, oh, that's just the way Jessica is. That's just the way Eric is. It's fine. It doesn't, now once they realize that, it doesn't ruin the party. Like, you're not going to be like, oh my God, you're eating those nachos? You're really going to have all that guacamole? Because because deep down, they're looking at themselves and they're like, I'm going to house this whole pizza because I can't have leftovers because nobody likes cold pizza on the next day. And where they want to stop, but they're like, oh, well, that guy's eating everything. Eric's eating all the cookies, so I better go get a cookie. Otherwise he's going to eat all the damn things, so they're upset with you because you're doing, like Jess had said, you're doing something that they're not strong enough to do, and something they want to do.
Yeah. We're 100% mirrors, meaning like if people don't like something, if you go out and you pick something apart on someone else, know this, is that thing that you're picking apart on someone else something you don't like about yourself? I bet it is, because that's pretty much how we are as humans. We are mirrors. Everything we complain about other people are things that we dislike about ourselves, or things that people are doing that we're picking on them for doing are things we truly wish we could do ourselves. We are 100% mirrors of ourselves. So if anyone's coming at you, rolling their eyes, take that as a compliment. Depends on how ballsy you are, but maybe you could go up and say, hey, you like these healthy habits I'm talking about, huh? I see your eyes rolling. Hey, why don't you join me? Or are you sick of me talking about it because secretly you want to start? How can I get you started? Or, maybe that's just a sign that they need a little more love. That could be it too. Maybe they need some more love and they feel that you are growing and changing, and they don't like that, because that's typically what happens. If you're not getting support from the people that are your people, chances are they see you growing and they're afraid they're going to lose you. So they're going to want to pull you back, like the bucket of crabs. If you've ever seen a bucket of crabs and one is trying to escape, all the other crabs will pull it back down. The other crabs will not let him escape. They all pull him back down. And that's what happens. That's why a lot of people become complacent and don't grow or don't go after their goals, because they don't have their circle supporting them. So they stay safe in their circle because everyone keeps pulling them back down. And that is the reality of why a lot of people just become complacent and just settle and are just like, well, they are okay with being unhappy because their happiness is making everyone else uncomfortable. And is that really worth it in the end? And if it's not worth it, then it's time to just break out of that skin and go. 100%. Yep. See if we have any more questions coming up. I think that's it. So those are all the questions we have coming in. Of course, if there's any other questions, we will answer them in the comments as always. And that is our talk on gaining support, having that conversation, or if you're not getting support, the reasons why, how you can stick through it. And, honestly, getting external support, like having a community, like that's what we do. That's what this free group is about. It's having a community. So if you're not having that support at home, but this is something you really, really want to jump out of your skin for, that's why we have this free community. That's why we have a virtual community in our program. It's why we have a community inside our club if you are in club members. Having that community that's like-minded with this, people doing the same things you're doing. That's why it's so, so important to have that, to support you, to grow with, because unfortunately we all don't have that at home or in our circle of friends. So just realize how important that is, and it's not your fault. It's okay to distance yourself from people who no longer support you. You have our permission to do so. We've done
love from a distance.
Love from a distance. Yeah, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be mean. It doesn't make you anything. It just makes you love yourself. It makes you as a priority. And there's nothing wrong with putting you as a priority. In fact, putting yourself as a priority makes you not only a better you, but a better wife, a better girlfriend, a better mom, a better sister, a better husband. Yeah, I know I'm coming from a girl's point of view. A better everything, just a better person to everyone, better friend, a better coworker, a better boss, whatever it is, better workout partner. A better you is better in every asset of your life.
Yeah, it's not selfish. It's not selfish. Because you can't give your full self unless you're fully charged yourself. It's really, you can't give from an empty cup. So if you love yourself and it's overflowing, you really are being selfless because you have more to give and you can make more of an impact.
Yep, absolutely. I don't think I can see all the comments for whatever reason. It says there's 8 comments, but I only saw 2 questions. So if there's a question that we didn't get to, we will make sure we answer it in the comments for sure. And I think that's a wrap. That's all we got for you today. So the key here is love yourself, put yourself priority, go for whatever you desire. You are 100% worth it. I know Eric agrees.
Right? Much love.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. I hope that we delivered some really valuable nuggets today that will help you on your journey. If you have any questions, please reach out. Just message us. You can find us at getfit@thefitclubgym.com. And you can message us there as well, or write in Facebook Messenger here, or if you see this on Instagram, wherever. Just reach out. We're here 100%. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, everyone, keep rocking at life. And adios. Peace out, all.